Hi, so today, welcome to CoolBreeze training session. Today we're going to look at a unit that's been reported as blowing warm air, but we're going to look at, first of all, whether there is any water in the unit. So the first thing we will do is we'll select a cool function on our wall controller. What we're now expecting is within approximately a minute we're expecting to get an electrical current to our solenoid. The reason being we're looking for whether the problem is an electrical fault or indeed a mechanical fault, no water or a blockage of water to the unit. So after selecting cool, we have a 1 minute wait before we get power to the solenoid. As you can hear the solenoid now, and indeed you'll be able to feel the magnetism of the coil. So we are assured that we have 24 volts AC power supply to the solenoid. This therefore means our only problem can actually be a water supply or a blockage issue. The next thing to test at this point is I would simply disconnect our water inlet supply from our drain valve. Being very careful at this point, because at this point I would expect a mains water to be coming out of there. If again I still do not have any water at this point, two other things to look for. We need to go back to the solenoid itself. The first thing with the solenoid is we need to check on the inlet side of the solenoid you have your filter. So we need to confirm, do we actually have a water supply to this unit? Is the filter blocked? If all of these are okay, the next thing will be to actually change the solenoid, because the diaphragm in the solenoid will have stretched, and that will be our problem. We're now going to look at a unit that indeed has water in the tank, but is still having a problem of blowing warm air. So it's either the water level or the circulation of the water. So the things we need to look at with the actual unit itself, we have to make sure that with our drain valve, the blue square section O-ring is seated correctly, so that it's down onto the seating, otherwise it will drain water out. If the unit doesn't have sufficient water in depth, then the pump won't come on. So this is your blue section O-ring, and if you see, you have the larger flatter surface to the top. Also things to look for with the pump itself, we have to make sure the pump impeller is completely submerged under water. So if we look at the new super pump, you can see the pump here, so the pump will become above the level of the water basket. So we know we've got sufficient water in there. The other thing, of course, is the float assembly. Now with the float assembly, it is adjustable, and this is part of the commissioning. If you unscrew the ball, you will lower the level of the water. If you rotate the ball clockwise, you will increase the level of the water. It's absolutely crucial that we get the correct water level with this unit. We're looking at a water level approximately 10 millimeters below the overflow. Just, if you can see down there, just 10 millimeters below the overflow there. We know then we've got sufficient water in the unit. One other thing when you're talking about the water that you need to look at is the feed pipe from the T-piece. If this pipe here is kinked or restricted in any way, shape or form, the drain valve will dump water. So it's crucial that we look at these. Both these rubber hoses have a nice bend to them, and they're not kinked or twisted or warped. Okay. Look at our circulating pump. You should all be very familiar with this particular Fasco pump, but you'll see introduced this year our new Air Group Super Pump. The pump will fit exactly the same way in the sump. You have the same outlet for your riser pipe, and indeed you'll have your same mounting screw to mount it into the unit. Electrically also it is exactly the same. But the one thing I want to show you is the ease of cleaning this pump basket whilst servicing. You've got a lug inside at the top of the belt, and when you just push it and twist it, the pump basket will come off completely. So you can see ease of cleaning to make sure you get round the back of the pump basket, which is normally against the sump in the unit. But there is our super pump. It's far quieter, it's far more efficient, it's been designed more ergonomically. How's that?
Okay.
We've got the pump. Hi. You should all be familiar with our standard Fasco pump that's been around for quite some years. And you should also be aware from a servicing perspective, you can take the basket off the pump for cleaning. And we would expect during a routine service for the pump to be removed from the unit and the basket to be removed, so that you can get round the back of the pump, which is normally very tight within the sump of the unit. But for this coming season, you'll now see the introduction of our new super pump. So the things you need to know with the new super pump. First of all, same outlet connection, same connection onto the pump, onto the sump. Our electrical supply is exactly the same as well. This pump also, you can remove the basket. To remove the basket on this, you've got this little lug here. If you pull down that lug and twist the unit, basket comes out again for cleaning. So you'll see, it's a direct replacement. Nothing different with this pump at all. How's that? Okay, to finish with the water section, we're going to look at the manifold. And you'll notice during the installation, you will have to cut the manifold, the length of the manifold. Please ensure you cut it at a nice square angle. And of course, when you insert it, make sure it's pushed down sufficiently over the barbed fitting so that it doesn't blow off.